This is my discussion slash review for 911 Season 6, Episode 14, titled Performance Anxiety. And I feel like the simple episodes work best, in my opinion. Let's talk about it.
Live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings, I'm a big fight.
I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I feel like the simple things work best, and this episode was as simple as you can get it, man. The title, Performance Anxiety, kind of played a heavy role throughout the entire course of the episode, whether it was Maddie on the phone call with the kid having a panic attack, Chimney going to firefighter training academy or whatever to help some of the other students there, and to help Ravi, or Bobby giving, peer reviews or performance reviews for everyone in the firehouse. It had a so much of a movement across the entire episode. Even with the lady at the baking company, hey, woo, they were having like performance reviews as well. Like, so the title was really reliant throughout the entire episode, and I feel like it showcased that, but it was very simple at the same time, and that just made it so much more better, I guess you can say. I don't know if that's the right word. It just made it better. You know what I'm saying? It just made it so entertaining, so enjoyable from 911, and then it relayed so heavy on some stuff that you had to really understand about the characters this episode. So character development and just an easygoing story, just keeping it simple is what this episode was, and it was just a really great episode. Now, with the title, we still had some over the top stuff going on, like the lady at the baking company. They're having performance reviews as well, and she's lazed into one of her coworkers, and we learned that the one that's giving the review also used to work on the floor as well, but she has this big ordeal about making the bread or whatever baked goods they're baking, about having the container shut down over the mixer. So, well, if you need to add something in there, you can just add stuff in there. And boy, oh my gosh, that was the one part of this episode that kind of went over the top. But that's why we love 911 as well. We always have these over the top scenes where they're coming to the rescue and stuff, and it was so good, but like so horrendous at the same time. Cause they really went for it when she stuck her hand in that mixer and got caught, and like you saw it kind of just pulled it out of the socket. I mean, it was nasty. It was mixed in with the bread, and I mean the dough and the blood. Like they went for it. But I bet you after all that, she ain't sticking her hand in no mixer no more without that little container around it. I guarantee you. But that's not the only case that they kind of went over the top with. We have dude in the bodybuilding competition where the father is cheering for the son. Dude did kind of look unproportioned, like the father sitting in the crowd. Now the son, he looked a little normal. You know what I'm saying? Now I know a lot of bodybuilders tend to just have that weird physique, but the father, he looked weird, man, right? And then when he get upstairs to celebrate with his son, all of a sudden he bends over and his bicep rips on the trophy, and all of it just starts spewing out, and it looks so nasty. But that was like I guess you could say those were like the over the top moments, and then the rest of the episode really focused heavily on character development and the title of the episode, because we see that Chim had his review with Bobby, and Bobby was telling him that he feels like he can step up more in a leadership role, and so he sent him to like the firefighter academy or whatever, like where they do the training and stuff. And we meet a couple of new characters that I don't think are ever going to come back into play, but we met them this episode. One of them being that Novak guy, and what was Led? I think it was Ledbetter anyway, the guy that fell after trying to help Novak. And we got to see Ravi again, which was phenomenal, man. I missed Ravi, and we learned why we haven't seen Ravi. And I feel like that was something that 911 really handled well this episode, because we see Ravi, and he tells us that he had this whole ordeal with trying to save this family that went over the side of a pier bridge or something. Anyway, they went over into the water, and he dove in to save them. Now he gave this excuse that his shoulder was messed up, and he really couldn't come back to work just yet. But as the episode progressed, we learned that that wasn't the case. The family that went over the side of the cliff which was a father and his two sons. The father tried to kill himself and his two sons, and Ravi was able to save the father and one of the sons. And we learned that that was weighing so heavy on him, because after the fact he saved these people, he learned that the father tried to kill himself and his sons, and he wasn't able to save the other son. but he was able to save the father, and that was kind of messing with him a little bit because now he feels like, well, maybe there's some people that shouldn't be saved, you know what I'm saying? And Chim had to give him the talk, and we learned why Chim feels the way that he feels, about his friend and everything that was like a brother to him. And he kind of tells Ravi that you're in the wrong kind of business if you don't want to save people anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because it's our purpose is to save them, not judge them. No matter what's going on, they tend to come to people in like a worse predicament ever. So our job is to save them and move along. And he was trying to give Ravi that advice, to kind of just let that stuff, not so that you can't deal with it, just kind of let it float off of you, because if it starts to take a toll on you like that, then you're not going to be able to save people. So it was nice to see Chim in that leadership role, and how Bobby kind of gave everybody their review, but he done it to only make them better, because it did make them better for Chim, Hen, Buck, and Eddie. You know what I'm saying? It gave them a perspective, because Eddie this episode is dealing with, his Tia telling him that, hey, it's time to move on. You need to go step forward, because if you get used to being alone, then it's going to be easier being alone. And she tries to set him up, and then the chick kind of, I don't want to say ghosted, but she kind of just gave Eddie the brush off. And Eddie was like, I don't know how to feel right now, because I was trying to brush her off, but she brushed me off, and I don't like this at all. But it's nice to see Eddie's finally taking that step forward. And we also see that Buck this episode was feeling kind of up in the air about Bobby trying to give him some slack, you know what I'm saying? Because technically, Buck, you did die, and he didn't feel like he deserved to have that slack. He wanted Bobby to kind of just lay into him a little bit, but that wasn't the case, and it kind of worked out for the better. And we learned that Hen, her whole thing, it was good. It was golden for her, but her certification for a paramedic is about to be up, so she's going to have to redo all that. But like I said, she was dealing with a lot of stuff, and I still don't understand the whole gist of her doing the medical school thing and then it not paying off. You know what I'm saying? We focused so heavily on it, and then there was no payoff for it. I mean, I'm glad that she's still part of the 118, but it just was no payoff. That whole storyline sucked. But we see that Bobby does this, to try to just amp everybody up. And at the ending of the episode, I feel like having Chien step into that leadership role really spoke volumes, because we see what he done for Ravi, and for Novak, he noticed that he had a fear of heights, and then he put him in the exercise where he had to rappel down from a higher standpoint, and then realizing that, he gave him a chance to still help people by giving him the number to the call center. So big ups on that. And that's my segue to talk about Maddie, because she helped this one kid. I can't remember his name. What was his name? Bowen, I think it was Bowen. Anyway, she helped this one kid that was having a panic attack, and oh my gosh, dude. Oh man, I totally forgot that Maddie, aka Jennifer Love Hewitt, could sing. It totally slipped my mind. I knew she could do it, but like it slipped my mind that she could actually sing. And then listening to her sing, oh my god, dude, like it was so good. It was so good, man. And it helped the kid calm down. And we also see that Hen and Karen are having dinner with Denny's father. I feel like that's a storyline that we get tidbits of it every week, and I'm fine with that, because it's so interesting to see, and I want to see how that dynamic plays out, because we know that Hen was feeling a certain type of way about having them involved in their lives, and talking to Bobby and Athena kind of gave her a different perspective to look forward to having Nathaniel in their lives. So we'll see how that plays out. But like I said, the simple episode, and it worked, and I loved every aspect of it, man. This is Wordick Incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button till you can't smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe. Peace out.
I cannot complain, because today, I'm doing my thing.